The day the music died and a song was born, Brenda Spencer and the I Don't Like Mondays shooting. The morning of January 29, 1979, dawned like any other Monday in San Diego, California. Children at Grover Cleveland Elementary School in the neighborhood of San Carlos were beginning their school week. Teachers were preparing for lessons, and the rhythm of everyday life hummed along. But by mid-morning, this ordinary Monday would be shattered by an act of senseless violence that left 2 dead, several wounded, and a nation grappling with a chilling explanation that would inspire a global hit song. The perpetrator was 16-year-old Brenda Spencer, and her motive, as she coolly stated, was simply, "I just don't like Mondays." The unthinkable Monday morning, Brenda Spencer lived directly across the street from Grover Cleveland Elementary. That morning, armed with a .22 caliber semi-automatic rifle given to her for Christmas by her father and hundreds of rounds of ammunition, she began firing from her bedroom window into the schoolyard. Her targets were the children gathered outside, waiting for the principal to open the gates, and later, the adults who tried to intervene. The first victim was Burton Ragg, the 53-year-old principal, who rushed outside to help children under fire. As he tried to pull a student to safety, he was shot and killed. Next was Mike Suchar, a 56-year-old custodian, who also ran out to aid the wounded and was fatally shot. 8 children were injured, as was a police officer who responded to the scene. The school, once a place of learning and safety, became a chaotic scene of terror, with gunfire echoing and the cries of children piercing the air. The standoff and the chilling explanation. As police swarmed the area, a 4-hour standoff ensued with Spencer barricaded in her home. During this tense period, a reporter from the San Diego Union-Tribune, by chance, called Spencer's unlisted home phone number. To his astonishment, Brenda Spencer answered. In a calm, almost detached voice, she offered her infamous explanation for the carnage she had just wrought. When asked why she did it, she replied, "I just don't like Mondays. This livens up the day." She also reportedly added, "I have no reason for it, and it was just a lot of fun." These words, delivered with a chilling nonchalance, immediately captured the public's attention and epitomized the terrifying randomness of the act. They offered no grand political statement, no deep-seated grievance, just a perverse, almost adolescent dislike for the beginning of the week. Who was Brenda Spencer? Brenda Spencer was, by many accounts, a troubled teenager. Described as withdrawn and prone to wearing combat boots and camouflage, she had a history of truancy and drug abuse. She had also previously expressed suicidal thoughts and had been referred for psychiatric evaluation, but her father reportedly refused to allow her to be admitted to a mental health facility. Friends and neighbors later recounted how she had often talked about wanting to do something big and had shown an unusual fascination with guns. Her parents were divorced, and she lived with her father. It was her father who had given her the Ruger 10/22 semi-automatic rifle, along with a scope and 500 rounds of ammunition, for Christmas, despite her known issues. This detail would later fuel debates about gun control and parental responsibility. The impact: a song is born. Halfway across the world, Bob Geldof, the lead singer of the Irish rock band the Boomtown Rats, heard about the shooting and Spencer's infamous quote on a newswire service at a radio station in Atlanta, Georgia. Deeply disturbed and profoundly affected by the senselessness of the tragedy and the surreal explanation, Geldof immediately began writing a song. The result was I Don't Like Mondays, released by the Boomtown Rats in July 1979. The song opens with the lines, "The silicon chip inside her head gets switched to overload, and nobody's home, but she's all alone. I don't like Mondays." The lyrics poignantly capture the horror and incomprehensibility of the event, blending Spencer's chilling words with a broader commentary on alienation and the fragility of peace. The song quickly became a global phenomenon, topping the charts in the UK and several other countries. It remains one of the most iconic songs of the late 1970s and is inextricably linked to the San Diego shooting. Interestingly, while the song brought the tragedy to an international audience, it also caused some controversy. Several radio stations in the United States initially refused to play it, fearing it would exploit the tragedy or even encourage similar acts. However, its artistic merit and powerful message eventually overcame these reservations. Aftermath and legacy. Brenda Spencer ultimately pleaded guilty to 2 counts of murder and assault with a deadly weapon. Because she was a minor at the time, she could not be sentenced to death. On April 4, 1980, she was sentenced to an indeterminate term of 25 years to life in prison. She has been denied parole multiple times, consistently expressing remorse, but offering no further explanation for her actions beyond her original, perplexing statements. During her parole hearings, she has sometimes claimed to have been under the influence of PCP at the time of the shooting, a claim contradicted by toxicology reports from her arrest. The Grover Cleveland Elementary shooting predated the wave of high-profile school shootings that would plague the United States in later decades. It was an early and stark reminder of the vulnerability of schools and the unfathomable depths of human cruelty. The event, coupled with the worldwide success of I Don't Like Mondays, cemented Brenda Spencer's place in history as a symbol of senseless violence and the disturbing disconnect between act and motive. Even today, the phrase "I don't like Mondays" carries a macabre weight, a grim echo of a tragic day when an ordinary morning turned into a nightmare, all because of one teenager's inexplicable disdain for the start of the week. The lives lost, the lives forever changed, and the haunting melody of a protest song remain as enduring testaments to the terrible events of January 29, 1979.